welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Or, I might show up at your door. I'm just here to share some creepy stories, so sit back and enjoy. Disclaimer: the content presented in the video is purely for entertainment purposes only. The theories and stories discussed in this video are speculative and are not supported by any evidence or proof. Viewer discretion is advised. Digital Communication Log, Vatican Health Services. Coordinator, Asher Lennox. Date: March 15, 2025. Classification: Routine Operations. 7:30 Morning Briefing Report. Standard health screening protocols initiated for today's papal audience. Expected attendance: 8,000 visitors. Medical stations positioned at primary entry points with full biometric scanning capabilities. Temperature sensors calibrated to 0.1 degree precision. All systems operational. Nora Finch reports overnight staff wellness checks completed. 17 Vatican employees called in with minor respiratory symptoms within normal seasonal variants for this time of year. Common cold presentations, nothing requiring elevated protocols. Medical bay stocked with standard supplies, 500 units antipyretics, 200 units decongestants, adequate 4 fluids for routine care. Current resource inventory remains at full operational capacity. Emergency medical supplies, 98% stocked. Quarantine facilities, unoccupied, systems tested weekly per protocol. Communication networks, all channels clear, satellite uplinks functioning at optimal parameters. 9:15 Pre-event security coordination. Kellen Frost confirms perimeter security protocols active. Metal detectors operational, crowd control barriers positioned according to standard papal audience configuration. Medical emergency response team stationed at designated points throughout St. Peter's Square. Ambulance services on standby, 2 units positioned at northeast and southwest exits. Weather conditions favorable. Clear skies, 18 degrees Celsius, minimal wind. No environmental factors requiring protocol adjustments. Crowd flow patterns predictable based on historical data. Emergency evacuation routes confirmed clear and marked. Standard operating procedures in effect. No deviations from established protocols required. 11:30 Audience monitoring update. Papal audience proceeding normally. Crowd density within acceptable parameters. Medical stations report routine activity. Minor heat exhaustion cases, typical for crowd size and conditions. No unusual patterns detected. Temperature screening data collected at entry points showing normal distribution. Average readings consistent with seasonal expectations. Automated health monitoring systems detecting no anomalies in crowd biometric data. Pope's health status confirmed stable by Vatican medical staff. Recent annual physical results within normal ranges for his age demographic. No restrictions on public appearances or contact protocols. 1400 hours post-event assessment. Audience concluded without incident. Crowd dispersal managed efficiently through standard channels. Medical stations treated total of 23 minor cases, 15 heat-related, 6 minor injuries, 2 pre-existing condition episodes. All cases resolved without requiring hospital transport. Equipment inspection completed. All medical devices functioning within specifications. Supply consumption minimal, well within projected usage parameters. No resupply orders necessary. Staff wellness monitoring continues. Current illness reports remain within normal variants. No indicators suggesting elevated health concerns. Standard flu season protocols maintaining adequate coverage. 1645 International Health Network update. Routine coordination call with WHO European Regional Office completed. Standard disease surveillance reports submitted. Vatican health metrics contributing to broader Italian health monitoring systems. No unusual disease patterns reported in regional network. Seasonal illness tracking shows expected patterns for March timeframe. No travel advisories affecting Vatican operations. International visitor health screening protocols remain at baseline level. Communication channels with international health authorities functioning normally. Data sharing agreements current and operational. Emergency contact protocols verified and updated monthly per agreement. 1820 evening operations status. Vatican medical facility transitioning to night shift operations. Duty physician on call. Nursing staff maintaining 24-hour coverage. Emergency response protocols remain active with reduced staffing levels appropriate for overnight period. Nora Finch completing final wellness checks with staff reporting minor illness symptoms. Treatment protocols standard. Rest, hydration, over-the-counter symptom management. Recovery times tracking within expected ranges. No staff shortages affecting operational capacity. Luca Bell confirms resource management systems updated. Daily supply consumption logged. Inventory levels maintained at required minimums. Next scheduled supply delivery confirmed for March 18th. Standard 3-day interval maintained. 2000 hours. Daily summary and planning. All health monitoring systems functioning within normal parameters. No deviations from established protocols required. Staff wellness levels adequate for maintaining operational capacity. Medical supply reserves sufficient for current demand levels. Tomorrow's schedule: routine staff health screenings, weekly equipment maintenance, quarterly emergency drill preparation. Standard operating procedures maintained. No elevated threat assessments requiring protocol modifications. Vatican's integrated health monitoring system demonstrates continued effectiveness. Professional medical staff coordination ensures comprehensive coverage. Emergency response capabilities maintained at full operational readiness. Communication networks tested and confirmed operational. International health coordination functioning normally. All required reporting completed and transmitted according to established schedules. Weather forecast for tomorrow: partly cloudy, temperatures similar to today. No environmental factors anticipated to affect operations. Crowd size projections for scheduled events within normal capacity parameters. Current threat assessment minimal. Standard precautions adequate. No intelligence indicating elevated health risks. Routine operations continuing according to established protocols. System status: operational. Threat level baseline. Next report: March 16th, 2025, 7:30. End of report. Digital communication log. Vatican Health Services. Coordinator: Asher Lennox. Date: March 16th, 2025. Classification: elevated monitoring. 6:45. Emergency morning assessment. Staff wellness reports showing significant deviation from baseline parameters. 43 Vatican employees now reporting respiratory symptoms. Increase of 152% over 24-hour period. Pattern exceeds normal seasonal illness progression by factor of 3.2. Nora Finch reports symptoms not matching standard seasonal presentations. Duration extending beyond typical cold recovery timeframes. Fever patterns showing unusual persistence despite standard treatment protocols. Temperature readings consistently elevated. Average 38.9 degrees Celsius. Sustained over 48-hour periods. Supply consumption rate accelerated. Antipyretic usage increased 340% over yesterday's levels. For fluid administration required for 12 staff members. Unprecedented for routine seasonal illness management. Alert: pattern recognition protocols activated. 8:20 Operational impact assessment. Kellen Frost reports 26 security personnel now affected. Staffing levels reduced to 74% operational capacity. Shift rotations implemented to maintain coverage. Standard security protocols maintained but with reduced response redundancy. Communication intercepts from Swiss Guard Medical Services indicate similar illness patterns affecting their personnel. Transmission rate exceeding projections for standard respiratory illness. Containment protocols under review. Vatican operations scaling to accommodate staff shortages. Non-essential services reduced. Medical personnel reassigned to illness management duties. Emergency staffing protocols considered for implementation. 1030 Symptom Analysis Update. Medical assessment reveals unusual characteristics not matching seasonal illness database. Symptoms include persistent fever, 100% of cases, respiratory distress, 87% of cases, severe fatigue, 94% of cases, disorientation episodes, 23% of cases, incubation period shorter than standard respiratory illness. Symptoms appearing 12 to 18 hours post-exposure versus typical 2 to 3 day timeframe. Transmission rate significantly elevated, secondary infections occurring within single work shifts. Standard treatment protocols showing limited effectiveness. Recovery times extended beyond normal parameters. 3 staff members requiring support due to dehydration complications. Medical bay capacity approaching 60% utilization. 1215 External intelligence gathering. Coordination with Rome Municipal Health Services reveals similar outbreaks reported at St. John Lateran and Santa Maria Maggiore Basilicas. Pattern suggests targeting of major religious institutions. Transmission characteristics consistent across all locations. Nyla Ren monitoring international communication channels. Similar reports emerging from religious centers in Madrid, Paris, and Munich. Pattern recognition algorithms detecting coordinated emergence across European religious sites. WHO European Office requesting detailed symptom data from Vatican medical staff. Classification elevated from routine surveillance to active investigation. International health monitoring networks activated for coordinated response. 1400 hours. Resource Management Protocol. Luca Bell implementing accelerated supply acquisition procedures. Medical supply consumption rates requiring daily rather than weekly resupply orders. Emergency procurement protocols activated with pharmaceutical suppliers. Current inventory analysis. Antipyretics at 67% capacity, 4 fluids at 71% capacity, respiratory support equipment at 89% capacity. Projected consumption rates indicate critical shortages within 72 to 96 hours without resupply. Vatican pharmacy facilities operating at maximum capacity. Production of basic symptom management compounds increased to supplement external supply chain. Staff reassigned to essential medical supply management duties. 1630 Communication network activity. Digital monitoring systems detecting unprecedented social media activity regarding divine illness and holy plague references. Public speculation about religious significance of outbreak patterns. Information control protocols implemented to prevent panic spread. International religious communities reporting similar illness patterns through unofficial communication channels. Vatican receiving direct communication requests from affected religious institutions seeking coordination and assistance. Emergency communication protocols established with affected religious centers. Shared symptom databases created for pattern analysis. Coordination network expanding beyond standard health authority channels. 1845 Papal health assessment. Vatican medical staff conducting enhanced monitoring of papal health status. Age demographic factors creating elevated risk profile. Isolation protocols implemented as precautionary measure. Public appearance schedule under review. Private residence medical monitoring equipment installed. 24-hour medical supervision assigned. Papal staff access limited to essential personnel with daily health screenings. Exposure risk mitigation protocols at maximum level. Communication with papal physicians indicating concern about unusual illness characteristics. Standard protective measures may prove insufficient given accelerated transmission rates and unusual symptom presentation. 2000 hours. Daily assessment summary. Illness pattern analysis indicates probable infectious agent with characteristics not matching existing respiratory illness databases. Transmission rate, symptom presentation, and geographic distribution suggest coordinated emergence rather than natural outbreak progression. Staff operational capacity reduced to 71% across all Vatican services. Medical bay utilization at critical levels. Emergency protocols may require implementation within 24 to 48 hours if current trends continue. International coordination network established with affected religious institutions. Shared intelligence gathering indicating widespread pattern across major European religious centers. WHO classification escalation anticipated. 2230 Night shift emergency report. Medical emergency during evening prayers. Cardinal Francesco collapsed during benediction service. Symptoms consistent with pattern observed in staff cases but with accelerated progression. Emergency medical response implemented. Nora Finch coordinating emergency treatment protocols. Cardinal's condition stabilized but requiring intensive monitoring. Medical bay approaching maximum capacity with multiple severe cases requiring for support and respiratory assistance. Security protocols elevated due to medical emergency requiring external ambulance response. Kellen Frost coordinating with Rome emergency services while maintaining containment procedures. Public exposure concerns increasing. 2345 Critical assessment update. Current situation requires elevation to emergency status. Illness pattern exceeding all baseline parameters for routine health management. Staff capacity, medical resources, and containment capabilities approaching critical thresholds. Transmission characteristics and symptom severity indicate potential biological agent rather than natural illness progression. Professional assessment recommends immediate escalation to highest alert protocols. Tomorrow's operations require full emergency response implementation. Standard procedures insufficient for current threat parameters. International coordination essential for effective response. Communication networks prepared for emergency coordination protocols. Resource management systems activated for crisis-level supply requirements. Personnel assignments restructured for emergency operations. From Asher Lennox Public Health Emergency Coordinator to WHO Emergency Response Network. Timestamp 6:42 Greenwich Mean Time. Subject: urgent, cross-institutional pathogen analysis required. Coordinating with global health networks per Protocol 7 Alpha. Need immediate laboratory support for unknown pathogen identified at Vatican facility. Symptoms inconsistent with seasonal respiratory patterns. Transmission rate exceeding standard models. Current data. Incubation period 18 to 24 hours. Fever onset 38.5 degrees Celsius average. Respiratory distress 72% of cases within 48 hours. Standard antivirals. No effect observed. Request immediate pathogen classification and treatment protocols. Internal memo from Nyla Wren, Communications Specialist to Emergency Response Team. Timestamp 8:15 Greenwich Mean Time. Monitoring global religious outbreak reports. Pattern confirmed across 47 sites. Asia Pacific. Angkor Wat Complex. 23 staff affected. Borobudur Temple. 31 cases reported. Golden Temple, 67 cases. Facility lockdown initiated. Europe. Canterbury Cathedral, 19 cases. Notre Dame reconstruction site, 15 cases. Sagrada Familia, 41 cases. Tour suspensions. Americas. Salt Lake Temple, 28 cases. Christ the Redeemer site, 33 cases. Basilica of Guadalupe, 52 cases. Transmission vectors unknown. No travel connections between affected sites confirmed. Religious affiliation appears to be only common factor. Recommend immediate communication with affected facility security teams. Laboratory analysis report from Nora Finch Medical Liaison to Asher Lennox. Timestamp 11:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Laboratory results from Vatican medical facility samples. Pathogen characteristics. RNA-based virus. Structure unknown to current databases. Protein shell demonstrates unusual stability in temperature variations. Replication rate 340% faster than influenza A. Cell binding mechanism. Targets respiratory and neural tissue simultaneously. Critical finding. Pathogen appears to have modified protein structures when compared to samples from 48 hours ago. This level of adaptive mutation typically requires months, not hours. Resource status. Medical supplies. 73% capacity remaining. Quarantine beds. 12 of 20 occupied. Laboratory reagents. Sufficient for 96 hours of analysis. Ventilation system. Operating at maximum filtration. Recommendation. Implement full facility lockdown. Standard containment insufficient for adaptive pathogen. Security briefing from Kellen Frost, Vatican Security. 2. Emergency Response Team. Timestamp. 14:45 Greenwich Mean Time. Vatican quarantine protocols tested for first time since installation. Facility separation achieved using existing architectural barriers. Secure zones established. Medical wing. Isolated ventilation system active. Administrative quarters. Access restricted to essential personnel. Chapel complex. Evacuated. Sealed per health protocols. Archive levels. Designated as emergency supply storage. Personnel status. Essential staff. 47 individuals. Quarantined individuals. 12 active cases. External access. Restricted to emergency medical only. Tactical assessment. Vatican's medieval construction provides natural containment advantages. Stone corridors limit airflow between sections. Multiple exit routes secured for emergency evacuation if required. Equipment inventory. Protective equipment. 72 full suits remaining. Communication devices. All systems operational. Emergency supplies. 14 days at current consumption rates. Resource management update from Luca Bell, Resource Manager. 2. Emergency Response Team. Timestamp. 16:20 Greenwich Mean Time. International travel restrictions affecting Vatican operations. Supply chain disruptions confirmed. Affected deliveries. Medical supplies. 3 shipments delayed indefinitely. Food provisions. Local suppliers maintaining service. Fuel reserves. Generators have 8 days capacity at current usage. Communication equipment. 2 backup systems available. Conservation measures implemented. Non-essential electrical systems reduced by 40%. Hot water restricted to medical facility only. Meal portions reduced to extend food supplies. Cleaning supplies rationed for medical use priority. Critical timeline. Current supplies adequate for 12 days assuming isolation continues. After day 12, rationing protocols must be implemented for all categories. Recommendation. Prepare for extended isolation scenario. External resupply may not be available. Papal health assessment from Nora Finch, Medical Liaison. 2. Asher Lennox. Timestamp. 18:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Classification. Confidential. Pope's final public address scheduled for tomorrow despite health protocols. Medical examination reveals current status. Temperature 37.8 degrees Celsius. Elevated but stable. Respiratory function 92% oxygen saturation. Blood pressure 140/90. Elevated from baseline. Cognitive function alert, responsive, no confusion. Risk assessment. Public address poses significant transmission risk. Recommend recorded message instead of live appearance. Current symptoms suggest early-stage infection possible. Protective measures required. Full respiratory protection for all personnel. Minimum 3-meter distance from any individuals. Speech duration limited to 10 minutes maximum. Medical monitoring throughout event. Contingency planning. Emergency medical response team stationed adjacent to broadcast location. Oxygen supplementation equipment prepared for immediate deployment if respiratory function declines. Technical analysis summary from Asher Lennox, Public Health Emergency Coordinator. 2. Emergency Response Team. Timestamp. 2015 Greenwich Mean Time. Analysis of pathogen behavior reveals critical intelligence. Adaptive characteristics confirmed. Mutation rate 15x standard viral adaptation. Environmental resistance. Survives 6+ hours on surfaces. Temperature tolerance. Remains viable from 4 degrees Celsius to 37 degrees Celsius. pH tolerance. Functions in acidic and alkaline conditions. Transmission vectors. Airborne. Primary method. Droplet range 2.5 meters. Contact. Secondary transmission via contaminated surfaces. Fomite. Clothing and personal items carry viable pathogen. Geographic pattern analysis. Religious sites correlation confirmed. Hypothesis. Pathogen specifically adapted for high-density gatherings with shared ritual objects and close physical proximity. Tactical assessment. Standard isolation insufficient. Pathogen demonstrates learning behavior, adapting to countermeasures within hours rather than evolutionary timeframes. Resource implications. Extended isolation protocols required. Current medical supplies adequate for immediate response but insufficient for prolonged containment scenario. Critical recommendation. Prepare for independent operations. External support networks may be compromised by similar outbreaks. Vatican facility must be equipped for self-sufficient medical response. Next steps. Implement enhanced quarantine using architectural advantages. Establish independent supply rationing protocols. Prepare communication systems for potential network failures. Document all pathogen observations for tactical advantage development. Status update. Vatican facility maintains operational security. Team coordination effective. Resource management sustainable for immediate term. Ongoing monitoring required as pathogen demonstrates unpredictable adaptive capabilities. Emergency broadcast transcript. Vatican radio. Live transmission. Timestamp. 9:42 Greenwich Mean Time. Duration. 4 minutes. 17 seconds. My beloved children across the world, I speak to you in what may be our darkest hour. The signs we have witnessed. Audio interruption. 15 seconds of labored breathing. The affliction that spreads among the faithful is not mere sickness. It is a test of our crash. Microphone impact detected. Emergency medical response audio. Medical team to broadcast studio immediately. Repeat. Medical emergency in broadcast studio. Transmission terminated. Immediate action report from Nora Finch, Medical Liaison. 2. Emergency Response Team. Timestamp. 9:58 Greenwich Mean Time. Priority. Critical. Pope collapsed during live broadcast. Immediate medical response initiated. Patient status. Respiratory distress. Severe. Oxygen saturation 78%. Core temperature. 40.2 degrees Celsius. Critical hyperthermia. Cardiac rhythm. Irregular. Blood pressure 180 out of 110. Neurological. Conscious but disoriented. Immediate interventions. Oxygen therapy. 15 liters per minute via non-rebreather mask. For access established. Fluid resuscitation initiated. Cooling protocols. Ice packs, cooling blankets deployed. Cardiac monitoring. Continuous ECG established. Resource consumption. Emergency oxygen. 2 tanks depleted. For fluids. 1 liter normal saline administered. Medications. Fever reducers. Cardiac stabilizers from emergency cache. Medical personnel. All 3 medics required for stabilization. Critical assessment. Patient requires intensive monitoring. This level of care depletes medical resources at accelerated rate. Current consumption pattern unsustainable beyond 72 hours. Facility lockdown protocol activation. From Asher Lennox, Public Health Emergency Coordinator. TO all personnel. Timestamp. 10:45 Greenwich Mean Time. Authorization code. Omega 7 Alpha. Full quarantine lockdown implemented immediately. All personnel restricted to assigned zones. Zone classifications. Red zone. Medical facility. Papal quarters. Restricted access. Yellow zone. Administrative areas. Communication center. Green zone. Archive levels. Supply storage areas. Isolation zone. Confirmed cases. medical observation. Movement restrictions. Red zone. Medical personnel only. Full protective equipment required. Yellow zone. Essential operations staff. Respiratory protection mandatory. Green zone. Resource management and supply teams only. Isolation zone. No entry without medical authorization. Decontamination protocols. Personnel transitions. Full sanitization required between zones. Equipment sharing. Prohibited except emergency medical situations. Ventilation systems. Independent circulation activated for each zone. Waste disposal. Sealed containers. Incineration protocols active. Communication. All coordination via radio systems. Face-to-face meetings suspended indefinitely. Supply chain disruption alert. From Luca Bell, Resource Manager. To Emergency Response Team. Timestamp 12:30 Greenwich Mean Time. External supply networks compromised. Critical shortages developing. Failed deliveries last 24 hours. Medical oxygen. 12 tanks scheduled. 0 delivered. Pharmaceutical supplies. Antibiotics, antivirals, pain medications. Food provisions. Fresh supplies. Specialty dietary requirements. Fuel delivery. Generator diesel, vehicle fuel. Supplier communications. Local medical supplier. Facility quarantined by health authorities. Food service. Driver exposed. Entire fleet suspended. Fuel depot. Government requisition. Civilian deliveries suspended. Pharmaceutical distributor. Supply chain priority to hospitals only. Current inventory analysis. Medical oxygen. 8 tanks remaining. 48-hour supply at current usage. Medications. 30% of standard inventory. Critical shortages in pain management. Food supplies. 9 days at full rations. 18 days at reduced portions. Fuel reserves. 6 days generator operation at essential systems only. Critical decision required. Transition to survival rationing immediately or risk complete resource depletion within 1 week. Pathogen behavioral analysis. From Nora Finch, Medical Liaison. To Asher Lennox. Timestamp 14:15 Greenwich Mean Time. Classification. Urgent. Laboratory analysis reveals accelerated pathogen adaptation. Mutation documentation. Hour 0 to 6. Standard viral replication patterns observed. Hour 6 to 12. Protein shell modifications detected. Hour 12 to 18. Cell binding efficiency increased 45%. Hour 18 to 24. Treatment resistance developed to all standard antivirals. Adaptive behaviors. Temperature tolerance. Expanded range. Now viable 2 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. pH resistance. Functional in stomach acid. pH 1.5. Surface survival. Extended to 12+ hours on metal surfaces. Disinfectant resistance. Standard sanitizers 60% less effective. Treatment protocol failures. Oseltamivir. No effect after hour 18 of infection. Ribavirin. Partial efficacy reduced to 20%. Supportive oxygen therapy. Required flow rates increasing 40% daily. Anti-inflammatory medications. Effectiveness declining. Critical finding. Pathogen appears to respond to treatment attempts by developing resistance mechanisms. Each intervention triggers adaptive countermeasures within 6 to 8 hours. Tactical implication. Traditional medical approaches accelerating pathogen evolution. Recommend suspension of active treatment protocols to prevent further adaptation. Global outbreak status update. From Nyla Wren, Communications Specialist. To Emergency Response Team. Timestamp 16:45 Greenwich Mean Time. International communications reveal exponential outbreak expansion. Government response status. Italy, martial law declared. Rome under military quarantine. France, national emergency. Religious gatherings banned. United Kingdom, Parliament suspended. NHS overwhelmed. United States, federal emergency declared. Military deployment authorized. Infrastructure failures. Internet connectivity. 40% reduction in global traffic. Air travel. 89% of international flights canceled. Ground transport. Major highways closed. Supply chains disrupted. Power grids. Rolling blackouts in 23 major metropolitan areas. Religious site status. 127 major sites under quarantine globally. 45 sites completely evacuated. 23 sites reporting zero communication. 8 sites requesting emergency military intervention. Communication network status. Satellite systems. Operational but congested. Cellular networks. Overloaded intermittent service. Internet infrastructure. Degraded. 60% normal capacity. Radio systems. Most reliable. Government priority traffic only. Assessment. External support networks failing systematically. Vatican facility must prepare for complete isolation scenario. Tactical shift authorization. From Asher Lennox Public Health Emergency Coordinator to Emergency Response Team. Timestamp: 1830 Greenwich Mean Time. Situation assessment complete. Implementing survival mode protocols. Operational changes. Medical focus. Supportive care only. Active treatments suspended. Resource allocation. Survival priorities override standard medical protocols. Personnel assignments. Cross-training initiated for essential functions. Communication. External coordination reduced to intelligence gathering only. Strategic advantages identified. Vatican architecture. Natural airflow barriers limit pathogen transmission. Facility isolation. Geographic separation from population centers. Resource cache. Archive areas contain emergency supplies installed 2019. Technical expertise. Team knowledge applicable to survival scenarios. Survival protocol implementation. Medical resources. Reserved for life-threatening emergencies only. Food rationing. Reduced portions. Extended supply duration to 21 days. Fuel conservation. Non-essential systems offline. Emergency power only. Water management. Existing systems adequate backup sources identified. Team coordination requirements. Kellen. Perimeter security. Facility defense protocols. Nora. Medical triage. Resource preservation. Luca. Supply rationing, inventory management. Nyla. Intelligence monitoring, equipment maintenance. Mission parameters. Facility defense and team survival takes priority over external health response obligations. Standard protocols suspended. Survival protocols active immediately. Resource commitment. All available materials committed to sustained operations. No reserves maintained for external assistance or evacuation scenarios. Vatican facility operating independently. External support unavailable. Team survival depends on tactical adaptation to extended isolation conditions. From Asher Lennox Alanox at Vatican.Health to Emergency Response Team. Subject: Operational status. Independent survival protocols activated. Time: 1447 Greenwich Mean Time. Priority: critical. WHO coordination network offline for 6 hours. Last communication from Geneva indicated total system failure. Autonomous operations required. Italian Health Ministry ceased all external communications at 1320. Resource assessment complete. Medical supplies: 18 days at current consumption rate. Food stores: 31 days with strict rationing. Water reserves: adequate with filtration system operational. Backup power: 12 days maximum usage. Pathogen behavior analysis troubling. 3 instances of what can only be described as adaptive responses recorded. Standard antiviral treatment showed effectiveness for 48 hours, then complete resistance. Quarantine barriers breached by infected individuals showing coordinated movement patterns. Symptoms evolving to maximize transmission efficiency. Kellen's perimeter reports require immediate attention. External threats multiplying faster than projected. Secure COM log. Vatican security. User: K.Frost. Time: 1523. East Gate breach attempt 1440. 7 infected individuals moving in formation. not random wandering tactical approach to weakest perimeter point. How did they identify our vulnerability? South wall sensors triggered 1515. No visual confirmation yet. Thermal imaging shows heat signatures massing approximately 200 meters from outer wall. Count: at least 30 individuals. Ammunition inventory: 240 rounds standard, 48 rounds specialty. Rate of consumption unsustainable if breach attempts continue at current frequency. Recommendation: consolidate to Inner Vatican. Abandon outer courtyards. Focus defensive resources on core facility protection. Resource management alert from Luca Bell. Time: 15:45. Supply chain analysis complete. External resupply impossible. Rome infrastructure collapsed. Transportation networks non-functional. Critical resource consumption rates. Medical supplies 22% above sustainable levels. Food within acceptable parameters with rationing. Fuel. Generator usage must be reduced by 40% immediately. Water. Filtration system requires maintenance parts we don't have. Hidden supply cache located in subbasement level 3, as indicated in architectural survey from part 2. Contents: medical supplies, 14-day reserve. Emergency food, 21-day reserve. Water purification tablets, 60-day supply. Backup communication equipment. Cache access requires 4-person team. Risk assessment: high. Route passes through potentially compromised areas. Medical status report. Dr. Nora Finch, medical liaison. Time: 1612. Patient status updates. Swiss Guard member showing early symptoms. Quarantine implemented. Maintenance worker progressing to stage 2 pathogen effects. Kitchen staff member expired 1540. Symptoms evolved beyond any known viral behavior. Pathogen characteristics defying classification. Observed adaptations. Incubation period shortened from 72 hours to 36 hours. Transmission method expanded beyond respiratory droplets. Infected individuals displaying coordinated behavior patterns. Standard treatment protocols becoming ineffective within 48-hour cycles. Medical supplies critical. Cache retrieval essential for continued operations. Communication systems status. Nyla Wren communications. Time: 1635. External networks, 94% failure rate. Satellite uplinks intermittent. Emergency frequencies compromised by interference. Last coherent international transmission received 1422 from unnamed source. Religious sites worldwide reporting similar outbreaks. Vatican survival protocols may be only functional model remaining. Maintain operations. Internal communication systems operational but limited range. Battery backup required for continued function. Equipment damage assessment reveals sabotage patterns. Someone or something is systematically targeting our communication capabilities. Tactical decision matrix. Asher Lennox incident commander. Time: 1720. Analysis of current operational status indicates point of no return reached. External support networks eliminated. Independent survival protocols now mandatory. Decision factors. Resource conservation requires immediate consolidation. Perimeter defense unsustainable with current personnel. Cache retrieval necessary for extended operations. Pathogen adaptation pattern suggests long-term survival scenario. Operational directive. Implement independent survival protocols immediately. Phase 1. Cache retrieval mission team. Kellen, security. Luca, logistics. Nyla, communication. Nora, medical assessment. Phase 2. Perimeter consolidation to Inner Vatican complex. Phase 3. Resource rationing protocols. Survival priority only. Phase 4. Establish long-term defensive positions. Risk assessment. High probability of casualties during cache retrieval. Alternative: certain death from resource depletion within 18 days. Cache retrieval mission log. Time: 1845. Team deployment successful. Route through papal apartments to subbasement access point. Encountered 2 infected individuals in corridor B7. eliminated with minimal ammunition expenditure. Cache location confirmed. Architectural survey accurate. Supplies exceed expectations. Medical 21-day supply including antibiotics and surgical materials. Food 28-day supply high-calorie emergency rations. Water purification supplies for 90 days. Equipment backup generator, communication array, construction tools. Additional discovery: Emergency Protocol Manual dated 1978. Contains Vatican-specific survival procedures for extended isolation scenarios. Procedures designed for exactly this situation. Perimeter Consolidation Report. Time: 21:30. Outer Vatican abandoned. All personnel and critical supplies moved to inner complex. Defensive positions establissistine at Sistine Chapel Approach, Primary Choke Point, Apostolic Palace Entrance, Secondary Defense, Papal Apartment Access, Final Fallback Position. External monitoring indicates infected individuals now occupying abandoned areas. Behavior patterns suggest they're learning our previous defensive positions. Resource status post-consolidation. Medical supplies, 39-day supply. Food, 59-day supply with strict rationing. Water, adequate with purification systems. Ammunition, 180 rounds after defensive actions. Fuel, 19-day supply with reduced generator usage. Pathogen adaptation analysis. Time: 22:15. Behavioral evolution documented over 8-hour period. Initial infected individuals showed random movement patterns. Current infected individuals demonstrate coordinated reconnaissance. Groups of 3 to 5 individuals systematically testing defensive positions. Response time to our movements decreasing. They're learning. Critical assessment. This pathogen doesn't just infect, it enhances coordination and tactical awareness in infected subjects. Not dealing with mindless plague victims. Dealing with coordinated enemy force that adapts faster than standard disease control protocols. Survival implications. Long-term defensive strategy required. Standard quarantine procedures inadequate. Need to treat this as military engagement, not medical emergency. Final operational status. From Asher Lennox. Time: 23:45. Independent survival protocols fully activated. Team consolidated in secure position with extended supply capacity. External support eliminated, operating autonomously indefinitely. Key tactical advantages identified. Vatican's architectural design provides natural defensive positions. Cache supplies extend operational timelines significantly. Team maintains functional expertise in all critical areas. Emergency Protocols Manual provides specific survival procedures. Threat assessment. Dealing with adaptive pathogen that enhances infected coordination. Standard medical approach insufficient. Survival requires tactical adaptation and resource optimization. Current operational status: stable but precarious. Team functional. Supplies adequate for extended operations. Defensive position secure. Next phase: establish sustainable survival routine. Study pathogen behavior patterns. Develop long-term tactical countermeasures. Point of no return confirmed. No external rescue possible. Success depends entirely on team coordination and resource management efficiency. Survival protocols remain active indefinitely. End report. Operational log. Day 3 Independent Operations. Incident Commander, Asher Lennox. Time: 6 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. Status: survival protocols active. Team rotation schedule implemented. 6-hour shifts maintaining 24/7 operational coverage. Shift A, 6 to 12 o'clock Kellen, Perimeter, Nora, Medical Monitoring, Luca, Resource Management. Shift B, 12 to 1800 hours Nyla, Communications, Asher, Tactical Planning, Kellen, Equipment Maintenance. Shift C, 1800 hours to midnight Nora, Medical, Luca, Inventory, Nyla, Surveillance. Shift D, midnight to 6 o'clock Asher, Threat Analysis, Kellen, Security, Rotating support. Sleep schedule. 4 hours guaranteed rest per team member. Meal schedule. 3 times daily, measured portions. Water allocation. 2 liters per person per day. Resource consumption tracking day 1 to 3. Medical supplies. 8% consumed within sustainable parameters. Food. 12% consumed ahead of rationing schedule. Adjustment required. Water. 5% consumed. Efficient usage. Fuel. 15% consumed. Generator optimization successful. Ammunition. No expenditure. Perimeter secure. Architectural advantage assessment. Team: Luca Bell, Kellen Frost. Time: 8:30. Vatican complex analysis reveals significant tactical advantages. Sistine Chapel position. Single entry point controllable with minimal personnel. Elevated observation positions provide 360-degree surveillance. Thick walls provide protection from external threats. Internal water source accessible. Emergency power routing available. Apostolic palace corridors. Narrow passages create natural choke points. Multiple fallback positions with secure doors. Ventilation system controllable from central location. Storage areas accessible for supply distribution. Communication equipment positioned for maximum coverage. Papal apartment complex. Ultimate defensive position with independent systems. Food preparation facilities operational. Medical bay equipped for extended operations. Reinforced construction provides maximum protection. Emergency exit routes mapped and secured. Critical discovery. Underground tunnel system connects all defensive positions. Allows secure movement between areas without external exposure. Tunnel entrances camouflaged and easily defendable. Pathogen behavior pattern analysis. Dr. Nora Finch days 1 to 3 observation. Time 11:15. Infected individual behavior patterns documented through surveillance. Phase 1 hours 0 to 12 post-consolidation. Random movement around abandoned outer areas. Individual exploration of defensive positions. No coordinated group behavior. Response time to stimuli 15 to 20 seconds. Phase 2 hours 12 to 48. Groups of 3 to 5 individuals forming spontaneously. Systematic testing of perimeter barriers. Communication between groups observed. Nonverbal signals. Response time to stimuli 8 to 12 seconds. Phase 3 hours 48 to 72. Coordinated patrol patterns established. Groups maintaining specific territorial boundaries. Reconnaissance of our defensive positions during shift changes. Response time to stimuli 3 to 5 seconds. Critical assessment. Pathogen enhances cognitive function rather than destroying it. Infected individuals becoming more tactically capable over time. Standard zombie apocalypse protocols completely inadequate. Countermeasure development. Unpredictable movement patterns during perimeter checks. Randomized shift schedules. False activity patterns to confuse surveillance. Resource optimization protocols. Luca Bell supply management. Time 13:45. Food rationing adjustment. Previous consumption rate 4% daily. Unsustainable. New consumption rate 2.8% daily. 58-day supply maintained. Caloric distribution 1,800 calories per person per day. Nutritional balance maintained through supplement rotation. Medical supply management. Emergency antibiotic reserve 80% preserved. Basic medical supplies. Rotating usage to prevent expiration. Surgical equipment maintained in sterile condition. Diagnostic equipment. Daily calibration checks. Equipment maintenance schedule. Generator. Daily oil check. Weekly filter replacement. Communication array. Twice daily signal checks. Water filtration. Daily flow rate monitoring. Weapons. Daily cleaning and inspection. Surveillance equipment. Hourly functionality checks. Supply cache integration. Primary supplies. 39-day reserve maintained. Cache supplies. 28-day reserve secured. Combined operational timeline. 67 days assuming current consumption. Emergency reserves. 14-day absolute minimum survival supplies. External reconnaissance report. Kellen Frost tactical assessment. Time 1620. Surveillance observations. Infected population in immediate area. Approximately 40 to 50 individuals. Movement patterns. Increasingly organized patrol routes. Territorial behavior. 3 distinct groups controlling different sectors. Activity level. Higher during daylight hours. Reduced but persistent at night. Threat assessment beyond perimeter. Rome City Center. Smoke columns indicate ongoing fires. Transportation infrastructure. No vehicle movement observed. Aircraft activity. None detected in 72 hours. Emergency services. No sirens or official activity. Strategic implications. No immediate rescue operations likely. Long-term survival scenario confirmed. Self-sufficiency essential for indefinite period. External scavenging missions extremely high risk. Defensive position evaluation. Current position. Secure against current threat levels. Expansion capability. Limited without significant risk. Resource access. Adequate within defensive perimeter. Escape routes. 3 confirmed. 2 compromised by infected patrols. Communication systems adaptation. Nyla Ren technical operations. Time 1800 hours. External communication status. Satellite uplink. 15% functionality. Intermittent connections. Radio frequencies. 95% compromised by interference. Internet connectivity. Complete failure. Emergency broadcast channels. No coherent signals received. Internal communication optimization. Hardwired intercom system. Operational throughout complex. Handheld radio network. Secure short-range coverage. Emergency signal systems. Visual and audio alerts functional. Backup communication array. 90% operational capacity. Intelligence gathering capabilities. Surveillance camera network. 12 external cameras operational. Motion detection systems. Calibrated for infected movement patterns. Audio monitoring. Perimeter microphones detecting coordination signals. Thermal imaging. Functional for night surveillance. Critical communication protocol. Hourly status checks between all team members. Emergency protocols for threat detection. Coordination signals for defensive positioning. Resource status updates every 6 hours. Tactical procedure refinement. Azure Linux operational development. Time 2030. Standard operating procedures established. Daily routine. 6 o'clock. Team assembly. Status briefing, shift assignments. 8 o'clock, resource inventory, equipment checks. 10 o'clock, perimeter surveillance, threat assessment. 12 o'clock, meal preparation, nutritional monitoring. 1400 hours, maintenance tasks, supply organization. 1600 hours, external reconnaissance, intelligence gathering. 1800 hours, communication attempts, equipment testing. 2000 hours. Tactical planning, procedure refinement. 2200 hours. Security preparation, defensive positioning. Midnight, night watch assignments, emergency protocols. Emergency response procedures. Perimeter breach. All personnel to defensive positions within 60 seconds. Medical emergency. Immediate isolation protocols. Resource allocation. Equipment failure. Backup system activation, repair prioritization, communication breakthrough, intelligence gathering, external contact protocols, resource shortage, emergency rationing, scavenging mission planning, team coordination optimization, task assignment based on individual expertise, cross-training for critical functions, backup personnel for essential operations, decision-making hierarchy for crisis situations, survival adaptation success metrics. Time 22:45. Day 3 assessment, resource management, sustainable consumption rates achieved. 67-day operational timeline established. Defensive position. Secure perimeter maintained. No breach attempts successful. Team efficiency. Rotation schedules functional. All personnel maintaining operational capability. Threat understanding. Pathogen behavior patterns identified. Countermeasures developing. Equipment status. All critical systems operational. Maintenance schedules preventing failures. Intelligence gathering. Surveillance network providing tactical advantage. External threat assessment accurate. Adaptation indicators. Team response time to emergencies. Improved 40% since day one. Resource consumption efficiency. Improved 25% through optimization. Defensive coordination. Seamless position transitions. Tactical planning. Proactive rather than reactive approach. Survival skills. Professional expertise successfully adapted. Next phase requirements. Long-term sustainability protocols. Advanced threat countermeasures. External reconnaissance capabilities. Current status. Survival adaptation successful. Team operational. Position secure. Resources managed efficiently. Operational assessment. Stable. End log day 3. Emergency coordination log. Day 23. Asher Lennox, Public Health Emergency Coordinator. Vatican Medical Operations Center. 6:30 hours. Medical supply inventory critical. Current medical supply status requires immediate tactical revision. Nora's infection rate calculations were accurate until yesterday. Her fever spiked to 104 degrees Fahrenheit at 3:45, forcing emergency protocol activation. Administered our last dose of broad-spectrum antivirals from the emergency cache discovered in the lower medical storage. Supply depletion analysis. Antivirals. 0 doses remaining. For saline solution. 3 bags remaining. Antibiotics. 8 doses remaining. Respirator masks. 12 units remaining. Surgical gloves. 47 pairs remaining. Nora's infection presents unknown pathogen variant. Symptoms differ from standard outbreak pattern. Accelerated progression, higher fever threshold, respiratory distress within 6 hours of onset. Her medical expertise now compromised. Cannot rely on her diagnostic capabilities for team health assessments. Luca's resource calculations show unsustainable consumption if current infection rate continues. Mathematical projection. Medical supplies exhausted within 72 hours at current usage rate. 7-15 hours. Perimeter breach analysis. Kellen reported perimeter compromise at Eastern Checkpoint during night watch rotation. Security camera footage shows coordinated breach by infected survivors, behavior patterns inconsistent with previous observations. Group of 7 individuals demonstrated tactical coordination, systematic probing of defensive positions. Breach timeline. 2:30 motion sensors triggered at outer perimeter. 2:45 Eastern camera went offline, deliberate sabotage. 3 o'clock inner courtyard motion detected. 3:15 Kellen responded with standard defensive protocol. 3:30 retreat to inner defensive positions required. Lost equipment during breach. Portable radio unit damaged beyond repair. Emergency medical kit abandoned at Eastern Checkpoint. Backup generator fuel reserves. 20 gallons lost. Perimeter lighting system compromised. Kellen sustained minor injuries during defensive action. Right shoulder laceration. Treated with remaining antiseptic supplies. His tactical mobility reduced by approximately 15%. Cannot maintain standard patrol schedules with current personnel capacity. 9:45 hours. Communication system damage assessment. Nyla's primary communication array suffered critical damage during breach response. Equipment analysis reveals intentional targeting of communication infrastructure by infected survivors. This suggests pathogen may enhance cognitive function while deteriorating physical condition. Communication capability losses. Long-range radio transmission. Inoperative. Emergency broadcast monitoring. Limited to handheld units. Vatican internal communication network. 60% capacity. External coordination capability. Severely compromised. Nyla attempting equipment repair using salvaged components from damaged units. Technical expertise limited without proper replacement parts. Estimated repair timeline. 48 to 72 hours for basic functionality restoration. Current communication limited to short-range tactical coordination only. No external intelligence gathering capability. Operating with reduced situational awareness of external threat evolution. 12-30 hours. Tactical position reassessment. Current defensive position unsustainable given resource depletion and personnel capacity. Kellen's security analysis indicates outer Vatican areas cannot be maintained with current team strength and equipment losses. Tactical requirements for position consolidation. Abandon Apostolic Palace outer wings. Consolidate to Sistine Chapel complex defensive perimeter. Relocate critical supplies to central secure location. Establish fallback positions within consolidated area. Resource transportation logistics challenging with Kellen's reduced mobility and Nora's medical incapacitation. Luca and Nyla required for equipment relocation operations. Personal protection compromised during movement operations. 14-20 hours. Supply relocation operations. Initiated systematic supply consolidation to inner defensive perimeter. Priority items relocated first. Remaining medical supplies, water purification equipment, communication repair components, emergency food reserves. Relocation progress. Medical supplies 100% relocated. Food reserves 75% relocated. Water purification system relocated but requires reinstallation. Fuel supplies 60% relocated. Security equipment 40% relocated. Discovered additional supply cache during relocation. Maintenance storage contained industrial first aid supplies, basic tools, emergency lighting equipment. Items not optimal for medical treatment but extend operational capability. Nora's condition deteriorated during relocation operations. Required assistance for basic mobility. Her medical diagnostic input now limited to verbal consultation only. Cannot perform physical medical procedures. 16-45 hours. Defensive perimeter establishment. Established consolidated defensive position around Sistine Chapel complex. Reduced perimeter allows more effective monitoring with limited personnel. Kellen designed overlapping surveillance zones despite mobility limitations. New defensive configuration. Primary observation post. Chapel bell tower. Secondary positions. Entrance alcoves with clear sight lines. Emergency evacuation routes. Underground passages mapped. Supply storage. Secured in chapel basement level. Medical treatment area. Adjacent chaplain quarters. Perimeter monitoring requires 2-person teams minimum for safety protocols. Current personnel availability limits surveillance to 12-hour rotation maximum. Fatigue management critical for maintaining operational effectiveness. 18-30 hours external threat evolution. Reconnaissance observations from bell tower position reveal significant external threat development. Infected survivor groups demonstrate increased organization, systematic resource gathering, coordinated movement patterns. Observed threat behavior changes. Group sizes increased from 3 to 4 individuals to 8 to 12 individuals. Systematic building searches indicating resource competition. Communication between groups through unknown signaling methods. Defensive position probing suggests tactical intelligence gathering. Pathogen appears to enhance certain cognitive functions while degrading others. Infected retain problem-solving capabilities, tactical awareness, coordinated behavior. Physical deterioration continues but does not eliminate threat capability. External resource competition intensifying. Other survivor groups may target Vatican location for supply acquisition. Defensive preparations must account for both infected and uninfected human threats. 20-15 hours. Resource consumption projections. Luca's updated calculations show critical resource shortfalls within 96 hours if consumption continues at current rate. Nora's medical needs accelerating supply depletion beyond sustainable levels. Critical resource timeline. Water reserves. 8 days remaining with rationing. Food supplies. 12 days remaining with strict rationing. Fuel for generators. 5 days remaining at current usage. Medical treatment supplies. 3 days remaining. Security equipment maintenance. Impossible without external resupply. Difficult tactical decision required regarding resource allocation priorities. Team survival versus individual medical support presents operational dilemma. Standard medical protocols cannot be maintained with current supply limitations. 22-45 hours night defensive protocols. Implemented enhanced night security measures given perimeter reduction and personnel limitations. 2-person watch rotations with communication check-ins every 30 minutes. Emergency response protocols adapted for smaller defensive area. Kellen's injury affecting night vision capabilities. Nyla assigned as primary observer, Luca as secondary support. Personal tactical training insufficient for optimal security effectiveness but necessary given personnel limitations. Nora's condition requires monitoring throughout night. Fever management consuming remaining medical cooling supplies. Her tactical contribution limited to consultation on pathogen behavior analysis when conscious. Sound discipline critical external threats demonstrate enhanced auditory awareness. Standard communication protocols modified for whisper-level tactical coordination only. 23-30 hours. Operational status summary. Current operational status. Critical resource shortage with compromised defensive capability. Team effectiveness reduced by 40% due to medical incapacitation and injury limitations. External threat environment deteriorating with increased coordination and tactical capability. Immediate priorities for next 24-hour period. Complete supply consolidation and inventory verification. Repair communication equipment for basic functionality. Establish sustainable resource consumption protocols. Develop tactical responses for enhanced infected threat behavior. Create contingency evacuation plans for position abandonment. Survival probability calculations indicate tactical adaptation required within 72 hours. Current defensive position temporary solution only. Long-term survival requires alternative operational strategy. Threat assessment. External threats adapting faster than defensive capabilities. Resource depletion timeline accelerating. Personnel casualties affecting operational effectiveness beyond acceptable thresholds. Recommendation. Prepare for tactical position abandonment if resource situation deteriorates further or external threats overcome current defensive capabilities. End Day 23 Report. Emergency Coordination Log. Day 24. Asher Lennox, Public Health Emergency Coordinator. Vatican Medical Operations Center. Consolidated Position. 5:45 hours. Environmental analysis breakthrough. Critical discovery during systematic analysis of pathogen behavior patterns. Nora's infection progression data compared against environmental conditions reveals significant variance in symptom severity based on location within Vatican complex. Data correlation analysis. Sistine Chapel complex. 60% slower infection progression rate. Apostolic Palace. Standard infection timeline. Outdoor courtyards. 40% accelerated infection progression. Underground passages. 70% slower infection progression. Architectural factors affecting pathogen behavior. Air circulation patterns in chapel utilize natural ventilation design. Stone construction maintains consistent temperature/humidity. Limited direct sunlight exposure in underground areas. Specific altitude/atmospheric pressure in elevated chapel areas. Nora's fever reduced from 104 degrees Fahrenheit to 101.2 degrees Fahrenheit after 18 hours in chapel environment. Respiratory distress symptoms improved markedly. Environmental factors providing therapeutic benefit previously unrecognized. Historical architectural analysis. Vatican construction designed for natural climate control, pre-modern ventilation systems, specific stone materials with natural antimicrobial properties. 7:30 hours pathogen dormancy pattern recognition. Systematic observation of external infected groups reveals predictable behavioral cycles. Kellen's tactical reconnaissance from bell tower position documented consistent activity patterns over 72-hour monitoring period. Infected group activity cycles 6 to 1400 hours. High activity, coordinated movement, resource gathering 14 to 1800 hours. reduced activity, shelter-seeking behavior. 18 to 2200 hours, moderate activity, defensive positioning. 22 to 6 o'clock, minimal activity, dormancy state. Pathogen dormancy triggers, temperature variations above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 14 to 1800 hours ambient peak. Humidity levels below 40%. Afternoon conditions. Direct sunlight exposure duration exceeding 6 hours. Atmospheric pressure changes correlating with weather patterns. Tactical implications. Infected threats predictably vulnerable during dormancy periods. Optimal timing for resource gathering, defensive improvements, reconnaissance operations. 9-15 hours ventilation system advantages. Detailed analysis of Vatican ventilation architecture reveals sophisticated natural air circulation system. Medieval engineering principles create pathogen-hostile environment through specific airflow patterns. Ventilation system specifications. Natural convection currents through stone passages. Temperature regulation through thermal mass effect. Humidity control via underground air circulation. Filtration effect through limestone construction materials. Pathogen vulnerability assessment. Requires specific humidity/temperature range for optimal transmission. Airborne transmission reduced by 70% in natural ventilation systems. Stone construction materials contain natural antimicrobial compounds. Consistent air circulation prevents pathogen concentration buildup. Environmental protection factor. Vatican's architectural design provides natural biological containment system. Infection rates reduced significantly within specific structural areas. 11:45 hours. Communication equipment restoration. Nyla successfully restored primary communication array using salvaged components and Vatican's copper wiring infrastructure. Discovery of underground communication conduits provided protected signal transmission capability. Restored communication capabilities. Short-range radio, 5-mile transmission radius. Emergency broadcast monitoring, full spectrum capability. Internal communication network, 100% functionality restored. Signal amplification through Vatican's metallic infrastructure. External intelligence gathering resumed. Monitoring emergency broadcast frequencies reveals global situation assessment. Government emergency broadcasts ceased 48 hours ago. Military coordination transmissions indicate widespread operational failure. Civilian emergency networks reporting isolated survivor groups. Medical facilities broadcasting automated distress signals. Tactical intelligence. Vatican position strategically superior to reported survivor locations. Most groups operating without sustainable resource access or defensive advantages. 13-20 hours. Resource optimization strategy. Luca's resource calculations revised using environmental advantage data. Reduced pathogen transmission rates enable more efficient resource allocation and extended operational timeline. Optimized resource projections. Medical supplies, 12 days remaining. Previous, 3 days. Water reserves, 18 days remaining. Previous, 8 days. Food supplies, 24 days remaining. Previous, 12 days. Fuel consumption, reduced 40% through natural climate control. Resource efficiency improvements. Heating/cooling requirements reduced by 60%. Medical treatment success rate increased 300%. Personnel recovery time reduced 50%. Equipment maintenance requirements decreased 30%. Tactical advantage. Environmental protection enables sustainable long-term operations. Resource consumption sustainable indefinitely with proper management protocols. 1500 hours. Countermeasure protocol development. Technical analysis of pathogen environmental vulnerabilities enables development of active countermeasure strategies. Combination of architectural advantages with tactical deployment creates effective threat mitigation system. Countermeasure implementation. Portable ventilation units using Vatican airflow principles. Temperature/humidity manipulation equipment. Reflective surface positioning for enhanced sunlight exposure. Atmospheric pressure variation chambers using elevation differences. Pathogen neutralization protocol. Environmental modification creates hostile conditions for pathogen survival. Dormancy period exploitation enables safe tactical operations. Natural architectural protection provides treatment environment. Systematic application of environmental factors reduces infection risk. Field testing results. 85% reduction in pathogen viability within modified environmental conditions. Existing infections show 70% improvement in controlled environment settings. 1730 hours. Tactical coordination improvements. Team operational efficiency significantly improved through understanding of pathogen behavior patterns and environmental advantages. Personnel assignments optimized for environmental protection utilization. Personnel tactical assignments. Kellen. Perimeter security during pathogen dormancy periods. Nyla. Communication monitoring from protected chapel position. Luca. Resource management utilizing environmental storage advantages. Nora. Medical consultation from therapeutic environment location. Operational coordination protocol. Daily operations scheduled around pathogen dormancy cycles. Equipment maintenance performed during low-threat periods. Resource gathering coordinated with environmental protection factors. Medical treatment optimized using architectural therapeutic benefits. Team effectiveness increased 200% through tactical adaptation to environmental intelligence. Injury recovery accelerated, medical treatment success improved, operational stress reduced. 1945 hours, external threat management strategy. Pathogen dormancy pattern exploitation enables proactive external threat management. Systematic application of environmental knowledge creates tactical advantages against infected groups. External threat mitigation. Defensive improvements during dormancy periods. Resource competition eliminated through superior positioning. Infected group behavior predictable and manageable. Environmental manipulation creates protective barrier zones. Tactical implementation. Reflective surface positioning creates pathogen-hostile approach routes. Ventilation system modifications extend protective environment. Temperature/humidity control systems deployed at perimeter. Natural architectural barriers enhanced with environmental factors. Result: external infected groups avoid Vatican perimeter due to environmental hostility. Pathogen-infected individuals experience symptoms severe enough to prevent sustained approach attempts. 2115 hours. Sustainable Operations Protocol. Comprehensive operational protocol developed integrating environmental advantages, pathogen behavior patterns, and resource optimization strategies. Long-term survival capability achieved through systematic application of tactical knowledge. Sustainable Operations Framework. Environmental protection maximized through architectural utilization. Resource consumption optimized using natural climate control. Personnel health maintained through therapeutic environment exposure. External threats managed through environmental manipulation. Operational schedule: 6 to 1400 hours. External operations during pathogen dormancy. 14 to 1800 hours. Internal operations utilizing environmental protection. 18 to 2200 hours. Communication monitoring and resource management. 22 to 6 o'clock. Rest periods in optimal therapeutic environments. Long-term survival probability. 95% success rate with current protocol implementation. Environmental advantages enable indefinite operational sustainability. 2300 hours. Knowledge integration assessment. Complete integration of environmental analysis, pathogen behavior patterns, and tactical advantages creates comprehensive survival strategy. Professional expertise in public health emergency coordination proves essential for tactical breakthrough. Tactical mastery achieved through environmental pattern recognition and exploitation, pathogen behavior analysis and prediction, resource optimization through natural advantages, team coordination using environmental protection, operational transformation, from defensive survival to proactive threat management. Environmental knowledge enables tactical superiority over external threats and pathogen challenges. 23:45 hours. Operational status summary. Current operational status. Tactical breakthrough achieved through environmental intelligence and pathogen behavior analysis. Team effectiveness restored to optimal levels. Sustainable long-term operations established. Immediate priorities for next 24-hour period. Implement systematic environmental countermeasure deployment. Establish proactive external threat management protocols. Optimize resource utilization using architectural advantages. Coordinate team operations around pathogen dormancy cycles. Develop expansion protocols for enhanced operational security. Survival probability, excellent. Environmental advantages and pathogen behavior intelligence enable tactical mastery of survival challenges. Threat assessment. External threats manageable through environmental manipulation. Pathogen challenges neutralized through architectural advantages and behavioral pattern exploitation. Recommendation. Proceed with systematic implementation of comprehensive survival protocol. Tactical advantage achieved through technical expertise and environmental intelligence integration. End Day 24 Report. Emergency Coordination Log. Day 127. Asher Lennox, Public Health Emergency Coordinator. Vatican Emergency Operations Center. 6 o'clock hours. Phase implementation begins. Resource inventory complete. Kellen's calculations confirm we have exactly 72 hours of modified filtration materials. The environmental analysis from yesterday proves the pathogen enters dormancy cycles during specific atmospheric pressure changes. Vatican's elevation and ventilation systems create these conditions artificially every 6 hours when the ancient air circulation operates at maximum capacity. Nyla confirmed backup power reserves at 78% capacity. Communications equipment repaired using salvaged components from the damaged relay station. Luca's resource optimization protocols show sustainable operations possible if we maintain current consumption rates. 7:30 hours. Tactical deployment. Kellen initiated perimeter restoration sequence. Security cameras repositioned to monitor all entry points during pathogen active phases. Motion sensors calibrated for the 4-hour active windows we've documented. The infected survivors follow predictable movement patterns during pathogen control periods. They avoid areas with specific sound frequencies generated by our equipment. Modified the ventilation timing system using Nora's medical expertise. She identified the exact air pressure differential needed to trigger pathogen dormancy. Vatican's 16th century ventilation shafts, originally designed for temperature control, create perfect conditions when operated in reverse cycle. 9:15 hours. Countermeasure activation. First full-scale test of environmental countermeasures successful. Pathogen activity ceased completely in the main chapel area during forced ventilation cycle. Duration: 47 minutes of complete dormancy. Sufficient time for tactical movement and resource collection. Luca confirmed equipment modifications holding steady. Filtration systems operating at 94% efficiency. Water purification maintaining optimal output. Food preservation protocols extended shelf life by additional 3 weeks using controlled atmospheric conditions. 11 o'clock hours. Operational coordination. Team synchronization achieved. Kellen's security protocols align perfectly with dormancy windows. Movement schedules optimized for maximum resource collection during safe periods. Nyla's communication monitoring shows no external survivors within 15-kilometer radius. We're operating independently as planned. Resource expenditure tracking shows positive efficiency gains. Using environmental advantages reduces supply consumption by 34%. Modified procedures require less equipment, fewer materials, minimal energy expenditure. 13:45 hours. advanced tactical implementation. Second dormancy cycle executed flawlessly. Kellen secured outer courtyard areas previously abandoned. Recovered medical supplies from compromised sections. Total resource gain: 12 days additional medications, 8 days food supplies, functional solar charging equipment. Environmental pattern exploitation continues. Vatican's unique architectural features provide tactical advantages unavailable in standard facilities. Stone construction maintains atmospheric pressure consistency. Underground areas naturally filter air circulation. Ancient drainage systems provide secure resource storage. 15-20 hours. Perimeter expansion. Third cycle allowed full perimeter restoration. Kellen's security measures now cover 200% of original defensive area. Motion detection grid operational across all Vatican grounds. Automated alert systems trigger during pathogen active phases. Discovered additional resource cache in previously inaccessible storage areas. Luca's inventory: 45 days of emergency medical supplies, 30 days of preserved food, backup power generation equipment, professional-grade air filtration systems. 1700 hours. System optimization. Fourth dormancy window used for equipment calibration. All systems operating at peak efficiency. Ventilation cycles precisely timed for maximum pathogen suppression. Resource consumption stabilized at sustainable levels. Nyla established external monitoring protocols. Radio equipment modified to track pathogen activity beyond immediate area. Data confirms our countermeasures effective within 2-kilometer radius. Environmental advantages create expanding safe zone. 1930 hours. Tactical mastery demonstration. Fifth cycle achieved complete operational control. Team movements synchronized with environmental conditions. Resource collection maximized. Security protocols integrated with atmospheric management. Kellen's tactical assessment confirms defensive position superior to any previous configuration. Multiple escape routes secured. Resource access guaranteed. Threat neutralization consistent and predictable. 21-15 hours. Sustainable operations confirmed. Final cycle of initial implementation phase completed successfully. All objectives achieved. Resource expenditure within projected parameters. Equipment functionality verified. Team coordination optimized. Luca's calculations confirm indefinite sustainability using current protocols. Environmental advantages provide continuous tactical benefits. Resource consumption reduced to minimum necessary levels. Surplus supplies available for extended operations. 2300 hours. Operational assessment. Implementation day successful. Countermeasure protocols functional. Environmental exploitation providing consistent tactical advantages. Team efficiency at maximum operational capacity. Resource status. Medical supplies sufficient for 180+ days. Food reserves adequate for 120+ days. Equipment functionality guaranteed for extended operations. Water and power systems sustainable indefinitely using environmental advantages. Security status. Perimeter secured across expanded area. Threat patterns predictable and manageable. Defensive positions optimized for long-term operations. Early warning systems operational. 23-45 hours. Tactical coordination complete. Final status check confirms complete operational success. Environmental countermeasures eliminate pathogen threat during scheduled windows. Resource management ensures sustainable operations. Security protocols provide comprehensive protection. Team performance exceptional. Kellen's security expertise maximized defensive capabilities. Nyla's communication skills maintained essential coordination. Luca's resource management prevented supply shortages. Professional competence applied successfully to survival scenario. Pathogen behavior completely understood. Environmental patterns fully exploited. Tactical responses perfected through systematic application of expertise. Vatican's unique characteristics transformed from historical curiosity to survival advantage. Tomorrow begins standard operational routine using perfected protocols. Threat management achieved through tactical mastery rather than elimination. Survival secured through professional competence and environmental exploitation. Operational status: fully functional independent survival facility with sustainable resource management and predictable threat neutralization protocols. Emergency coordination log, Day 154. Asher Lennox, Public Health Emergency Coordinator. Vatican Emergency Operations Center, Standard Operations. Morning Operations Report, 6 o'clock hours. Standard morning procedures completed on schedule. Atmospheric pressure monitoring indicates optimal conditions for extended dormancy cycles today. Weather patterns show stable barometric readings for next 72 hours. Pathogen activity will remain minimal. Kellen's security sweep confirmed perimeter integrity maintained. Motion sensors detected 0 unauthorized movement during night cycle. All entry points secured. Defensive positions require no adjustments. Standard patrol routes completed in 94 minutes. Efficiency improvement of 12% from initial protocols. Resource consumption tracking shows consistent sustainability metrics. Daily water usage, 34 liters total, well within purification system capacity of 200 liters. Food consumption, 1.2 kilograms total. Reserve supplies maintain 89-day buffer. Medical supplies used, basic maintenance quantities only. Emergency reserves untouched for 23 consecutive days. Administrative functions 9:30 hours. Nyla completed daily communication sweep. External radio monitoring shows continued absence of organized survivor activity within 50-kilometer radius. Equipment functionality verified across all channels. Backup communication systems tested and operational. Luca's inventory management confirms resource stability. Solar power generation exceeding consumption by 23% daily average. Battery storage systems at 96% capacity. Mechanical systems requiring minimal maintenance. Water filtration operating at peak efficiency with filter replacement scheduled for day 203. Environmental controls functioning optimally. Ventilation system modifications continue providing pathogen suppression during scheduled cycles. Air quality measurements within normal parameters. Temperature regulation systems adapted for energy conservation show improved efficiency. Tactical assessment 12 o'clock hours. Midday security protocols completed without incident. Pathogen activity levels consistent with established patterns. No behavioral changes detected in local infected population. Threat assessment remains stable at manageable levels using current countermeasures. Equipment calibration shows all systems performing within optimal ranges. Detection apparatus functioning correctly. Alert mechanisms tested and responsive. Escape route accessibility verified monthly per protocol. All routes clear and supplies cached. Team coordination maintains peak operational efficiency. Task assignments rotate according to expertise requirements. Workload distribution prevents equipment overuse and conserves energy. Professional competence levels sustained through regular skill application. Resource management review, 1,500 hours. Weekly resource audit completed. Supply consumption rates stable and predictable. Surplus accumulation continues due to environmental efficiency gains. Reserve calculations show extended operational capability beyond initial projections. Water system producing 180+ liters daily with consumption averaging 35 liters. Food preservation techniques extending shelf life by 40% average. Medical supplies consumption reduced through preventive protocols and environmental health advantages. Power generation consistently exceeding requirements. Equipment operates on minimal energy consumption. Lighting systems adapted for efficiency while maintaining operational visibility. Communication equipment on low-power standby configurations during non-essential periods. External monitoring 1,800 hours. Routine reconnaissance data shows pathogen distribution patterns unchanged. Local environmental conditions continue providing tactical advantages. No evidence of pathogen adaptation to countermeasure protocols. Radio sweep confirms absence of external coordination attempts. Digital monitoring equipment detects no organized electronic activity. Satellite communication attempts yield no response from established emergency networks. Weather tracking indicates favorable conditions continuing for next 10-day period. Atmospheric pressure variations support extended dormancy cycles. Environmental advantages remain consistent and predictable. Operations planning 20-30 hours. Monthly planning session completed. Resource allocation optimized for next 30-day cycle. Maintenance schedules arranged to maximize equipment lifespan. Task rotation adjusted for seasonal variations in workload requirements. Kellen's security assessment recommends no changes to current protocols. Defensive capabilities adequate for known threat levels. Perimeter monitoring systems require routine maintenance only. Emergency response procedures verified through regular drills. Luca's sustainability projections show positive resource trends continuing. Current consumption rates allow indefinite operations using established protocols. Equipment replacement schedules manageable using salvaged materials and repair techniques. Standard evening procedures 2200 hours. Daily operational review confirms all systems functioning within normal parameters. No emergencies, equipment failures, or protocol deviations recorded. Team performance consistent with established efficiency standards. Communication equipment secured in standby mode. Power systems optimized for overnight consumption. Security monitoring systems active on automated schedules. Environmental controls set for optimal pathogen suppression. Resource status verified. All critical supplies above minimum operational levels. Emergency reserves untouched. Surplus accumulation continues according to projected rates. Sustainability calculations remain positive. Final status 23:45 hours. Day 154 operations completed successfully. All protocols executed without modification. Team coordination maintains operational efficiency. Environmental advantages continue providing tactical benefits. Professional competence successfully adapted to long-term survival requirements. Vatican facility optimized for indefinite independent operation. Resource management sustainable using established procedures. Pathogen threat managed through predictable countermeasures. Environmental exploitation provides consistent tactical advantages. Security protocols prevent external threats from compromising operations. Tomorrow begins day 155 using identical operational procedures. Threat assessment unchanged. Resource consumption predictable. Team assignments rotating according to established schedule. Operational status. Fully functional survival facility with proven sustainability, predictable threat management, and efficient resource utilization. Vatican Emergency Operations Center maintains readiness for ongoing independent operations in permanently altered environment. Long-term survival achieved through systematic application of professional expertise, environmental advantage exploitation, and sustainable resource management protocols. End standard operations log, day 154.